Shalom, shalom, family. Shalom, shalom. This is your brother, Servant Shiloh, coming at you from the city of Refuge, Homestead. Man, it's been a rough couple of weeks over here, man. Not with the family. Everything's good here, But, remember my videos, Remember them when I speak about proving people. When I speak about building networks, you understand? The Most High plugs you in with certain brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? And it's usually because you got to learn something, At least that's how I take everything. Everybody that I meet, everybody that I come across, it is a learning situation for me, personally. Everybody, from coworkers, to random people that purposefully stop me to speak to me in public, Hey, you have such a beautiful family. Or, I like the way you operate with your children. Everything's a learning lesson. We are commanded to be peculiar. You understand? We are supposed to be a peculiar people unto our God. I try to move in such a way that I remain blameless. I remain humble. I don't operate with pride. I don't operate with ego. I operate with truth. I operate with wisdom. This is how that is my function. That is how I function. Nonetheless, I want to tell you guys a story today, right? I want to tell you guys a story. I say it was a rough week because, when you're proving people and you've grown to establish a bond and a rapport with certain people, but you see something is wrong. You understand? And you try to speak to your brother, and they take offense at what you say, and they start operating differently. Now they're mad at you. Now they want to fight you. Now they want to curse you out. This is immature behavior. This is truly immature behavior, But nonetheless, that's what I've had to deal with these last couple of days. Getting to know brothers, conference calls, hearing understandings. Iron sharpens iron. We understand that there's some friction involved in that. You know what I mean? There's some friction involved in that. And that's expected and that's understood. But everything that has transpired these last couple of days brought me back to a place where I was a few years ago, when I was proving these other brothers, right? I'm not going to say any names for this video, except one name at the end. So I was proving brothers, right? I got my hands on the property. I know this is a task that is too big for me alone, and I'm humble enough to admit that, So I automatically did what? I went to my circle at that time, those who I was in communication with, those who I had met on Clubhouse, you know what I mean? I'm going to start this out by saying I met Brother A on Clubhouse. And, Brother A was very adamant about land and land development. Yes, I have property. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, Okay, brother, so, you must be the brother that I need to speak to. You must be the brother that I need to be around so I can learn how to do certain things. All right. So I scheduled the trip. The brother was in the same state where my land was too. So I said, even better. I scheduled a time and a date to get down there and to meet up with the brother. You know what I mean? I didn't want to bring brother A directly to the property. So me, my wife, we got an Airbnb. Met the brother there, right? Brother A pulled up with his wife, right? Brother A's wife is just what we're going to call her for now. So I meet the brother, speaking to him. Yeah, you know, Bitcoin and Forex trading and, you know, talking about his property, solar panels, fetching water, things of this. You know, I'm you know, Lord's willing, you can show me these things. You know, can you show me how you have your solar panels set up and all of that? Nah, brother, I can't bring you up there. That's fine. Because once again, we're proving each other. I understand, no problem, right? The weekend ends, I shoot back up north. I do what I gotta do. I'm still in communication with this brother. But then I get introduced to brother B in the clubhouse room too, brother B. And brother B too, you know, single brother, but yeah, property development, farming, sustainability, sojourning, you know. He's talking what I want to hear, you know. Things that I didn't know about property development, you know. So while I'm learning these things from them, I'm proving them still. A couple of months go by, I'm heading down to the property again, and I have to cut some trees down. So now brother A and brother B, they're telling me, yeah, we're going to pull up. We're going to get it done. We're going to help you. All praises to the Most High, you know. So once again, this is my first time meeting brother B. But I take my wife to the Airbnb, and, you know, we're there because there was nothing here, literally. There was nowhere for us to pitch a tent, drive, nothing. Everything was woods and brush. So they come to the Airbnb, and brother A jumps out, brother B jumps out, and then I see brother C, right? Brother C jumps out. I see brother C and his wife and his children. Beautiful family, very beautiful family. That brother, till this day, remains a good brother to me. But nonetheless, brother A's wife comes. Everybody's there. I'm greeting everybody. So right there at the Airbnb, I find out that brother C is the actual landowner of the property that brother A was claiming to be the owner of. So that made sense why he didn't want to bring me the first time, you know. It just clicked. I stored that, you know, I stored that in memory. I didn't make a big deal about it, but now I'm speaking to the man who owns the property. What's going on, huh? You know, solar panels, this, that, and the third, building fences, you know, letting me know what he's doing. And, you know, all praises to the Most High for that. You know, I got a chance to meet the brother, speak with him. He showed me his setup. You know, he showed me solar. He just showed me that it was possible. That's what the brother did. I just had to see it being done. Because if I could see it being done, then I know, okay, if this brother and his family could do it, we can do it. You know, sometimes that's all it takes, you know. Nonetheless, you know, we're all getting to know each other, you know. When a brother is speaking about something he believes, I hold my peace. I don't confirm or deny anything until I've looked into the matter. Let me look into the matter before I form a conclusion and just agree with you right there on the spot. You know, that's how some brothers operate. If you don't agree with me right now, we can't move forward. Brother, let me look into the thing, you know. And that's just what I did. You know, I was reserved in my approach, but I wasn't an introvert in my actions with them. A wise man knows how to hold his peace and be quiet. and shut the hell up. And the wise man knows when it's time to speak. You know, that is something that I've developed over these last couple of years, especially when it comes to proving people, because people will show you who they are through their speech, and you don't need a lot. They'll show you their level of intelligence. They'll show you their understanding of scripture, and they'll show you who they are through their speech alone. You don't need too much. You don't got to sit them under a flashlight. Well, who sent you? What is your name? You don't need to do none of that. Just listen to them. Just listen to them. And that's what I did. And I said, these brothers are they're different. Very different. But you know what? They know things I don't know. Brother B, right? He saw something that I didn't see. We pull up to the property, and I'm looking at shrubs and trees, and I'm just like, damn, where do we start? Where do we start? Brother B said, look, let me show you something. He said, you see that tree right there? I said, yes. He said, you see that series of trees in the row on this side? I said, yeah, I do. He said, all right, now look, you see this tree right here, over here? And you see how it's in the series going down that way, straight down? I said, yeah. He said, that's a tree line, brother. I said, oh my God. I didn't know what a tree line was. I never heard of it. He said, that's a tree line. And that's a clearing in between your trees. This could be your driveway. I said, good God. You know? Good God, Marty. You know, that's how I took it. And, you know, the brothers had wisdom. They had certain things that I could glean from them in this adventure, you know? Because this is an adventure now. This is an adventure that we all should be taking. But nonetheless, you know, I learned things from these brothers. You know, good and bad. You know, especially in a community setting. You know, when things spill outside of your house, when things spill outside of the privacy of your four walls, and it spills out in front of brothers and sisters, you know, you can only assume that somebody's going to talk to you. A wise person is going to talk to you about it, especially in a community setting, right? The wives were all talking. I don't care about what the wives talk about. What the wives talk about is what the wives talk about. But when something comes to me of concern, right? My wife pulled me to the side. My wife said, Brother A's wife said that she doesn't feel safe with Brother A. And I'm just like, God damn. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for this. I didn't ask for this. You know, brothers take pride in their homes. I understand that. Brothers guard their families. You understand? So that's another level of like, should I be quiet? Should I say something? What should I do? You know, I started just watching function. Started watching how people operated. You know, I saw little clues of, you know, Brother A dealing in a different manner, per se, with his wife. And, you know, I didn't think nothing of it, though, until my wife brought that to me. And then that's when everything started clicking, you know. So It started to get to the time where we had to wrap up our stay. I took off of work. I asked for a week. I ended up taking 2 weeks off. But there's such a heavy demand for mechanics that uh, they let it roll. They let me roll, and I came back and just everything was fine. Um, Job security, nonetheless. Um, it hurt my soul to have to leave knowing this. You know what I mean? And then a big blowout happened between brother A and brother C. I guess some childhood stuff that was unresolved between brothers, because they were brothers. Brother A and brother C were brothers. I hope you're following along with the storyline. And back to what I was saying, these brothers, not all of them, but brother A specifically, weird beliefs. Weird beliefs, Yeah, the Most High, he claimed the Most High told him to be poor. He's commanded him to be poor and to live in a poor manner. He lived in a tent with his wife. Granted, if you're gonna start out that way, that's fine. Start out that way, brother. But you can't have your wife in no damn tent. You can't, brother. That's just not feasible. At all. It's not feasible. There has to be a way. A pallet shed. Look at all these damn trees, right? A log cabin. Something. You understand? These brothers had tools. They had a wood milling machine. The brother said that working showed a lack of faith. Right? Working showed a lack of faith. That was another red flag for me. Working shows a lack of faith. But throwing your cash app around proves you have faith. I guess that makes sense, right? Hospitals. I don't believe in doctors. Look, brother. We understand that the hospitals are not safe. But brother, you don't believe in hospitals. So if you break your neck, what you gonna do? You're not gonna go to the hospital to get an x-ray? If you break your arm, you're not gonna go to the hospital to get an x-ray, to get it wrapped up? What? You're not feeling good. You're not going to go to the hospital to get, blood work done or something like, another red flag. Craziness, just craziness. But I'm tucking this all in, all that whole experience, Another brother came from Ohio, drove down in his camper. Brother C invited him because he wanted me to meet this brother. He drove down from Ohio to come to Tennessee. Big ass, big football playing brother, right? His wife beating his ass all in the camper. Just meeting different brothers, learning experiences. I brought it all home with me, But man, when we got back home, I went to go and have the call. Because everybody was waiting for a call to see how we were going to move forward after everything that transpired. And I said, look, in all honesty, there's only like 2 of you brothers that I was even sent to even continue with. You know what I mean? I can't really mess with brother A because of such and such. I really can't. And when you have these conversations with brothers, they start to look at you like, who do you think you are? Man, I'm a man that's thinking about bringing my family around other families, and I need to know who I'm bringing around my family. Do you understand? And if you don't see that, there's something wrong with you, brother. There's something seriously wrong with you. The scripture says, do nothing without counsel. This is a counsel, Some brothers don't know what counsel is. Even some old men don't know what counsel is. All right? And we're going to leave that there. But nonetheless, during that conversation, I was like, look, my wife told me something, brother. You know, my wife told me that your wife told her X, Y, and Z, that she don't feel safe around you. Now I want to know, is my wife lying or not? I need to know this, right? So the sister came on the phone, brother A's wife. Did you tell brother Shiloh's wife that you did not feel safe around me? Right? She said, no, I did not say that. So then I asked her, I said, is my wife lying to me? Tell me my wife is lying to me. Now I know my wife isn't lying to me, but she got silent. She did not answer that question at all. Right? She did not answer that question. Lost communication with that brother for quite some time. Because I later on found out as well that he was getting ready, brother A, to receive a dowry for his daughter. You know, sell his daughter in marriage to a brother. And I'm like, these brothers are tripping out here. Because of all the things that the law tells us to do, right? Of all the things that the law tells us to do. Be a father to the fatherless. Protect the widow. Deliver the poor and needy. Rid them out of the hand of the wicked. You know, this brother's worried about selling his daughter for a dowry. You know, this brother's worried about people sending him money to his Cash App. This brother's lying initially about when he told me the land was his. Nah, it's his brother C's land. You know, things just weren't clicking. You know, the whole doctor thing. I'm like, there's something wrong with this brother. The living in your tent with your wife. You know, brother, you know, if it's going to be for a season for you to move forward or have a foundation, rather, where you can sit back and then build, that's one thing. But when this is just it and this is it, you know, this is what the Most High said. He wants me poor. He wants me broke. You know, I don't need counsel. That was another thing. I don't need counsel. I'm not asking for counsel. No, brother, when brothers talk, that's counsel, brother. Automatically. You know, patterns. And these things keep happening. You know, it just happened last week. All right. So, once again, back to the story. The sister was silent. She didn't say nothing. Lost contact with that brother. Lost contact with that brother. I want to say a year flew by. You know what I mean? And I found out that brother A's wife, who I will name now Sister Marlissa, you know, she passed away. She passed away. Under brother A's care, custody, and control. She passed away. He's saying respiratory sickness, right? COVID. The Lord knows, brother. Only the Lord knows how she passed away. You heard? But I knew that brother was personally full of shit. Full of shit. And I'm not trying to make this into a laughing matter. You know, this is a very serious matter because this is something that's plaguing the Israelite community right now. You know, proving, knowing who people are, man. Sisters afraid to speak up. Sisters not really knowing who they're dealing with. You know? I want to say this too before I sign off of this, man. You know, first and foremost, you know, obviously, rest in peace, Sister Marlissa. Sisters, you can't be out here on the internet, man, just looking for a husband. You can't do that. You can't do that thing, man. Because you get involved with these brothers, they have nobody to speak for them. They're in the truth. I'm in the truth. How? Who's your elders? Yo, if these brothers have no elders, if these brothers have no circle of accountability, don't mess with these brothers, man. Do not mess with these brothers. They know how to play that psychological game on you. You understand? Nobody loves you but me. Nobody loves you but me. Nobody wants you. Nobody cares about you. Right? These are the psychological games that they play. The scriptures speak about silly women laden with sin, falling victim to these brothers. Such are they who creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sin. You understand? You must be mindful of who you are dealing with. You must be mindful of proving people. You cannot know somebody during good times. The only way you get to know somebody is during bad times. And I understand that. I understand that because then you get to see how somebody truly operates in all seasons. Oh, when he's happy, he's joyous. Oh, when he's mad, whoo, you stay away. Let me pray. You know what I mean? You got to learn how somebody is at all times before you can finally put the stamp on it. This brother has self-control. This brother has discipline. This brother has a vision. This brother has skill. That brother's too emotional. That brother, yeah, that brother, he's too emotional. You understand? Rest in peace to Sister Marlissa. Rest in peace to Sister Marlissa. And I thank my wife for putting me on to that, because it connected dots. We don't go out of our way to just talk about other people's business behind their back. That's not what we do. You understand? But when something that is life and death, when that is involved, you understand? I will not keep silent on nothing of that magnitude. You know what I mean? If you're coming at me, you confiding in me because you confessing to me something, that's something else. You know what I mean? That's nothing. That's between me and you. I'll deal with that. You know, but when it comes to souls, don't play with me. You don't do that. Don't play with me. You know? Because I can see bullshit a mile away. I know bullshit because I used to play in it. You know what I mean? I know what it smells like. You know what I mean? I know what it feels like. It's bullshit. I know. I know when I see it. So that's just something that the Most High has put into my spirit. You know what I mean? Sisters, don't be dealing with these brothers if they do not have a council of people who are keeping them accountable. Everybody's learned this truth from somewhere. Nobody woke up and just said, oh, I'm an Israelite. No, somebody heard the truth from somewhere. Somewhere. Well, Where'd you hear the truth from? Oh, I heard it from this. These brothers. Show me these brothers. Check that circle as well. You understand? Do not be hasty to credit anybody, any friend. All right, so this is your brother, Servant Shiloh, coming at you from the city of Refuge, Homestead. You brothers and sisters, you stay tuned. You stay encouraged. You stay righteous. Stay dangerous. And I'm going to get back with you guys soon. Shalom.